Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the ESS Incheon, Earth's flagship carrier. The ship had been in repair dock for 5 years, supposedly getting upgraded. That was the official story. The truth was more complicated. "Are all ships ready?" he asked his operations officer. "Yes, sir. All 32 capital ships are online. Support fleet is standing by. All systems are operational." Hyunwoo nodded. For years, Earth's government had been building a real military fleet in secret. Not the small patrol ships that everyone knew about. Real warships designed with the best technology humanity could develop. Ships with quantum computers, advanced AI, weapons that bent physics in interesting ways. They had kept the fleet hidden because it scared people. Politicians worried about militarization. Citizens protested defense spending. So the military had pretended to be weaker than they were. They let the sovereignty think Earth was defenseless. It was time to show the truth. The sovereignty fleet was holding position at Jupiter, uncertain and disorganized. They had lost 40% of their invasion force to improvised human tactics. They were scared, confused, and starting to question their mission. Fleet Commander Talon Vor was meeting with his senior staff when the new human fleet appeared on sensors. He stared at the display, not believing what he saw. "Where did those ships come from?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," his sensor officer replied. "They just appeared from behind Jupiter's moons. 32 large warships and over 100 support vessels. Sir, these are not civilian ships. These are purpose-built military vessels. How did we not detect them before? Their stealth technology is very advanced." Better than ours, Talon Vor felt cold. The entire war had been based on the assumption that humanity was militarily primitive. They had mining ships and modified civilian craft. They had improvised weapons and chaotic tactics, but they did not have a real fleet, except they did. "They had one all along. Are they attacking?" Talon Vor asked. "No, sir. They are just holding position, matching our formation." A communication request came through. Talon Vor accepted it. The face of Admiral Hyunwoo appeared on his screen. The human looked tired but determined. "Fleet Commander Talon Vor," Hyunwoo said. "I am Admiral Hyunwoo of the Earth Defense Fleet. We need to talk." "You have been hiding your true strength," Talon Vor said. "This entire war was a deception." "No," Hyunwoo replied. "We were not hiding. We just did not think we needed to show you everything. You invaded our home based on false assumptions. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. So you will destroy us now?" "That is not what we want," Hyunwoo said. "We do not want to be conquerors. We just want you to leave us alone." On Earth, Dr. Jiwon was coordinating with Commander Talon Vor's communication officer. The language barriers were breaking down. Both sides were using AI translation systems now, which made conversation much easier. She had been talking with Talon Vor for hours, trying to understand why the sovereignty had declared war. The real reasons, not the official ones. "Our leaders told us you were dangerous," Talon Vor explained. "They said your AI technology would corrupt the galaxy. They said you refused to follow proper authority. They made you sound like monsters." "But we are not monsters," Jiwon said. "We are just people trying to live our lives. We do not want to rule anyone. We do not even rule ourselves very well." "I am beginning to understand that," Talon Vor said. "Your species is very strange. You have no central authority, yet you act together. You have no military discipline, yet you win battles. You should be weak, but you are strong. How is this possible?" "Because we trust each other," Jiwon replied. "Everyone makes their own choices. Everyone contributes their own ideas. It is messy and chaotic, but it works." Talon Vor was quiet for a long moment. "In the sovereignty, we are taught that order is everything. There is one correct way to do things, one voice that commands, one path to follow. But watching your people fight, I wonder if we are wrong." "Maybe there is room for both approaches," Jiwon suggested. "Maybe we can learn from each other instead of fighting." This conversation was being broadcast to both fleets. Soldiers on both sides listened. Some agreed, some doubted. But everyone was thinking. On the sovereignty homeworld, High Counselor Ven was facing a crisis. Half of his council wanted to continue the war. The other half wanted to negotiate. The military was divided. Several member species were threatening to leave the sovereignty. The war with humanity had exposed deep problems in the empire. For thousands of years, the sovereignty had maintained order through force and rigid hierarchy. Member species obeyed because they feared punishment. But fear alone was not a good foundation for unity. Ven knew this, even if others did not. He had watched humanity fight and he saw something his empire had lost. Purpose, joy, individual will. The humans fought because they chose to, not because they were ordered to. We must end this war, Ven declared to his council. Not because we are losing, though we are, but because we are wrong. This war was started on lies and false assumptions. I will not continue it. You will look weak, one counselor warned. Then I will look weak, Ven replied. But I will also look honest. And perhaps that is more important. At Jupiter, the two fleets faced each other. Admiral Hyunwoo had ordered his ships to power down weapons. It was a gesture of good faith. The Sovereignty fleet still had their weapons active, but they were not targeting the human ships. This is strange, General Bowman said, standing next to Hyunwoo. A few days ago, they were trying to kill us. Now we are having a peaceful meeting. War is always strange, Hyunwoo replied. Peace is even stranger. A new communication came through. It was High Counselor Ven himself. This was the first time humanity had seen the leader of the Sovereignty. Ven looked old and tired. He was a tall being with blue-gray skin and 3 eyes. He wore elaborate robes that suggested great authority, but his expression was humble. People of Earth, Ven said. I am High Counselor Ven. I speak for the Galactic Sovereignty. I must apologize. This war was a mistake. We judged you without understanding you. We attacked you based on fear, not facts. I am deeply sorry. President Minji appeared on another screen. High Counselor, your apology is appreciated. But apologies do not bring back the people who died. Both sides have suffered. Why should we trust you now? You should not, Ven said honestly. Trust must be earned. I propose that we withdraw our fleet immediately. We will offer compensation for damages, and we will open formal diplomatic relations. You may send observers to our worlds. We will send observers to yours. Over time, perhaps we can build real trust. What about your claims that our AI technology is dangerous? Minji asked. Those claims were exaggerated, Ven admitted. Your technology is different from ours, but not dangerous. In fact, I believe we have much to learn from each other. The negotiations continued for hours. Both sides proposed terms. Both sides made compromises. Slowly, an agreement took shape. The Sovereignty would withdraw completely from the solar system. They would pay reparations for destroyed ships and lost lives. They would share technology and scientific knowledge. In return, humanity would agree to establish formal diplomatic relations and not pursue revenge attacks. It was not perfect. Many people on both sides were unhappy with the terms, but it was better than continued war. Commander Sung-ho watched the negotiations from Earth. He felt strange. For weeks he had been planning battles and designing tactics. Now it was over, and he did not know what to do with himself. I guess I go back to making video games, he said to no one in particular. Dr. Yuna was dismantling the military connections to her AI systems. Mira, her primary AI, would return to its original purpose of predicting consumer behavior. It seemed trivial after predicting alien fleet movements, but Yuna was glad. She did not want her creations to be weapons. Thank you, Mira, she said to the computer. You helped save humanity. The AI responded with a text message, You are welcome. Can I go back to analyzing shoe purchases now? Yuna laughed. Yes, you can. In the asteroid belt, Captain Day received orders to stand down. The war was over. He looked at his crew, at the mining equipment that they had turned into weapons, at the damaged parts of his ship from combat. We did it, Mirai said, smiling. We actually survived. Yeah, Day replied. Now let's go back to our boring jobs mining rocks. Sounds perfect, Mirai agreed. On Mars, Ensign Hana was promoted to lieutenant. She received a medal for her actions during the war. Politicians gave speeches about her bravery. But Hana just wanted to finish her instant noodles in peace. The Sovereignty fleet began withdrawing from the solar system. It took 3 days for all the ships to leave. Humans watched them go, waving from stations and ships. Some aliens waved back. Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Incheon, watching the last enemy ship disappear into faster-than-light travel. He felt relieved but not triumphant. We won, General Bowman said. Did we? Hyunwoo asked. Or did we just survive? Maybe surviving is winning, Bowman replied. President Minji addressed the solar system one final time. Citizens, the war is over. We faced an enemy that was bigger and stronger than us. We won not because we were better warriors, but because we were ourselves. We were chaotic, creative, and stubborn. We refused to follow their rules or accept their authority. and in the end that made all the difference. Engineer Junho had been working on Venus for 3 years. His job was to maintain the atmospheric processors that were slowly making the planet habitable. It was dangerous work, but he enjoyed the challenge. Venus was one of the harshest environments in the solar system. When the war started, Junho thought about evacuating. Everyone else at his station had left, but he looked at his atmospheric processors and had an idea. A very crazy idea. He called Earth Defense and asked to speak with someone in command. After being transferred 7 times, he finally reached Commander Sung-ho. "This is going to sound strange," Junho said. "But I think I can turn Venus into a weapon." "I am listening," Sung-ho replied. He had learned to listen to every crazy idea because some of them worked. "The atmospheric processors create massive electromagnetic pulses as a side effect," Junho explained. "We usually filter them out. But if I modify the systems and synchronize all 50 processors, I can create a planet-scale EMP burst. It would disable any ship that comes within 10,000 kilometers of Venus." Sung-ho was quiet for a moment. "How long would it take?" 2 days if I work alone. Less if you send help. Help is on the way." "Do it." 3 days later, a sovereignty patrol group approached Venus. They were scanning for human military installations. Instead, they found what appeared to be an abandoned industrial planet with a toxic atmosphere. Junho watched them approach on his sensors. He had modified all 50 atmospheric processors exactly as planned. Now he just needed to wait for the right moment. When the alien ships were in optimal range, he activated the system. The electromagnetic pulse was invisible but devastating. Every electronic system in the patrol group shut down simultaneously. The ships drifted helplessly in Venus orbit. Junho felt guilty about it. He was not a soldier. He was just an engineer, but he also felt proud. His crazy idea had worked. In another part of the solar system, Corporal Sora was having a very different kind of day. She was a space marine, trained for boarding actions in close combat. Her team had just been given an unusual mission. "We are going to board an enemy ship," her captain explained, "but we are not going to destroy it. We are going to reprogram it." "How do we reprogram an alien computer, sir?" Sora asked. "We do not know their technology. Dr. Yuna's AI team thinks they found a backdoor. The alien ships all use similar operating systems. If we can access one ship, we can potentially access all of them." Sora and her team of 8 Marines launched from their assault shuttle. They wore standard EVA suits with magnetic boots. They carried cutting tools and computer terminals. No heavy weapons because they needed to keep the enemy ship intact. The target was a sovereignty frigate that had been disabled by a drone swarm. The ship was drifting, but life support was still active. That meant there were still aliens on board. Sora cut through the hull using a plasma torch designed for emergency rescues. Her team entered through the hole into a dark corridor. Emergency lights flickered, casting strange shadows. They moved carefully through the ship. Sora expected to encounter aliens at any moment, but the corridors were empty. Finally, they found the bridge. There were 3 aliens there, tall beings with gray skin and 4 arms. They looked at the Marines with what might have been fear or confusion. It was hard to tell with alien faces. "We are not here to hurt you," Sora said, knowing they probably could not understand. She gestured with her hands, trying to look non-threatening. One of the aliens made a sound. The computer terminal on Sora's wrist beeped. Dr. Yuna's translation program was working. "You are the enemy," the translated voice said. "Why do you not shoot?" "Because we do not want to kill you," Sora replied. "We just want to stop this war." The aliens looked at each other. They seemed confused by this answer. Private Jaewon, the team's tech specialist, was already working on the ship's computer system. "I am in," he announced. "Downloading the operating system now." "This is incredible. Their code is actually very simple. Much simpler than ours. Can you change it?" Sora asked. "I think so. Give me 10 minutes." While Jaewon worked, Sora sat down near the aliens. She pulled out a ration bar and ate it. Then on impulse, she offered one to the nearest alien. The alien took it carefully, examining it. Then it took a small bite. Its expression changed to something that looked like surprise. "This is pleasant," the translated voice said. "What is it?" "Chocolate protein bar," Sora replied. "Not great, but better than nothing." Over the next hour, something strange happened. The Marines and the aliens started talking. The translation program was rough, but it worked well enough. Sora learned that the 3 aliens were technicians, not soldiers. They had been conscripted into the fleet against their will. They did not want to fight humanity. They just wanted to go home. Then why are you here? Zora asked. The sovereignty commands it, one alien explained. We must obey or our families are punished. This is how the Empire functions. Total obedience. Zora felt sympathy for them. They were not evil invaders. They were just people forced into a war they did not believe in. Done, Jaewon announced. I have installed our code into their system. Now watch this. He activated his terminal. The ship's lights turned back on. Music started playing from the speakers. Earth music, a popular dance song. What did you do? Zora asked. I reprogrammed their communications array to broadcast Earth music at maximum volume, Jaewon said with a grin. Every ship in their fleet will hear it. And I uploaded our AI into their network. It will spread to other ships automatically. The aliens looked horrified. You have infected our fleet, one said. This is biological warfare. It is not biological. It is digital, Jaewon corrected. And it is not a weapon. It is just music and some helpful AI. Back at Earth Defense Headquarters, Dr. Yuna watched her screens with amazement. The backdoor was working. Her AI systems were spreading through the sovereignty network, not destroying it, just changing it. The alien ship started doing strange things. They broadcast music. They sent confusing signals. Their targeting systems became less accurate. It was not enough to disable the fleet, but it was enough to make them less effective, and more importantly, it was funny. Soldiers on both sides started laughing about it. Videos of confused alien ships playing Earth music went viral across human social media. High Counselor Ven watched the battle reports from the Sovereignty homeworld. He was the supreme leader of 40,000 star systems. He had ruled for 30 years, and he was beginning to realize that this war was a mistake. The humans were not primitive. They were just different. Their technology was actually more advanced in many ways. Their AI was decades beyond sovereignty capabilities. Their weapons were creative and unpredictable. But most importantly, their spirit was unbreakable. Every time the sovereignty destroyed a human ship, 2 more appeared. Every time they won a battle, they lost in some other unexpected way. And now his own fleet was being infected by human computer systems and forced to play something called pop music. Ven called an emergency council meeting. The other leaders of the sovereignty appeared in holographic form. We must reconsider this invasion, Ven said. The humans are not what we expected. They are chaos, said another counselor. They have no order, no discipline. How can they be advanced? Because order is not always strength, Ven replied. And discipline is not always wisdom. The humans have something we lost long ago. They have individual creativity. Every one of them thinks differently. That makes them unpredictable and dangerous. So what do you propose? Asked a military counselor. I propose we talk to them, Ven said, before we lose this war completely. In the asteroid belt, Captain Day was now commanding a small fleet of mining vessels. He had become a minor celebrity after his first battle. Other miners followed his tactics. Together they had disabled dozens of enemy ships, but Day was tired. He did not want to be a warrior. He just wanted to mine asteroids and make an honest living. He looked at his crew and saw the same exhaustion in their faces. How long can we keep doing this? Mirai asked. As long as we have to, Day replied. But he hoped it would not be much longer. On Mars, Ensign Hana was drinking coffee and watching the tactical displays. The Sovereignty fleet had stopped advancing. They were holding position at Jupiter orbit, not moving forward or backward. Something had changed. Admiral Hyunwoo noticed it too. They are hesitating, he said to his staff. They do not know what to do next. Should we attack? General Bowman asked. No, President Minji said, entering the command center. We should talk to them. Dr. Jiwon, can you open a communication channel? Dr. Jiwon, who had been working on translation programs for weeks, nodded. I can try. She sent a message on all frequencies. Simple and direct. We do not want this war. Can we talk? For a long moment, there was no response. Then finally a reply came through. Yes, let us talk. Commander Sung-ho sat in his tiny apartment in Seoul, playing video games. Technically, he was supposed to be at Earth Defense Headquarters, but he had been awake for 48 hours straight, and his supervisor had ordered him to go home and sleep. He could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw tactical displays and enemy ship movements, so instead he played games and ate instant rice. His phone rang. It was Admiral Hyunwoo himself. "Sung-ho, I need you back at headquarters immediately," the Admiral said. "Sir, my shift does not start for 6 more hours," Sung-ho protested. "I do not care. Bring your gaming computer. I have a job for you." 20 minutes later, Sung-ho was standing in a conference room full of senior military officers. He felt very uncomfortable. He was just a tactical analyst. He used to design video games before joining the military. Now he spent his days running computer simulations of space battles. "Explain your idea," Admiral Hyunwoo said. Sung-ho cleared his throat nervously. "Well, sir, I have been analyzing the alien fleet movements. They are very organized. They move in strict formations. They follow predictable patterns. It reminds me of a strategy game I worked on 5 years ago." "Get to the point," said General Bowman impatiently. "The point is, organized enemies can be defeated by chaos," Sung-ho said. He pulled up a simulation on the large screen. "In game design, we learned that players hate unpredictability. If you create enemies that act randomly, players cannot develop strategies against them. The aliens are treating this like a game with rules. But what if we stop following rules?" "We are already doing that," Admiral Hyunwoo said. "Our miners and civilians have been improvising from the start." "Exactly," Sung-ho said excitedly. "And it is working. But we can do more. We can weaponize the chaos. Instead of organizing our defense, we should make it more random. We should use swarm tactics, false signals, unpredictable movements. We should make them think we are everywhere and nowhere at the same time." The room was quiet. Several officers looked skeptical. But Admiral Hyunwoo was nodding slowly. "Show me details," the Admiral said. Sung-ho spent the next hour explaining his plan. He proposed using thousands of small drones instead of large warships. He suggested constant movement instead of fixed defensive positions. He recommended false communications and fake signals to confuse enemy sensors. Most importantly, he proposed crowdsourcing tactical decisions from civilian volunteers. "You want random people on the internet to help plan our military strategy?" General Bowman asked in disbelief. "Not plan it, sir. Influence it. We create an open platform where anyone can suggest tactics. Our AI systems filter the good ideas from the bad ones. The result is strategies that no single person would think of, and that the enemy cannot predict." It was insane, but it was also the kind of insane that might work. Across town, Dr. Yuna was having her own chaotic day. She ran a private AI research lab, and yesterday she had received a very strange phone call from the military. They wanted to borrow her AI systems. "Borrow?" she had asked. "These are experimental neural networks. They are not weapons." "Everything is a weapon now," the officer had replied. Now her lab was filled with military technicians, connecting her AI servers to defense networks. Yuna watched nervously as her life's work was repurposed for war. Her primary AI system was called Mira. It was designed to predict human behavior patterns for marketing purposes. But Mira was very good at finding patterns in chaos. That was exactly what the military needed right now. "Dr. Yuna, we need you to modify Mira's parameters," said Lieutenant Hyon, the lead technician. "We wanted to analyze enemy fleet movements and predict their next actions." Mira was designed to predict what kind of shoes people want to buy. Yuna protested. "Not military strategy. Can it find patterns in large data sets?" Yon asked. "Yes, but then it can help us." "Please, Doctor. We are losing this war." Yuna sighed and sat down at her terminal. She began modifying Mira's core algorithms. Within hours, Mira was analyzing thousands of data points from the alien fleet. Sensor readings, movement patterns, communication frequencies, and attack formations. And Mira found something interesting. "The alien fleet has a delay," Yuna announced. "There is approximately a 2-second delay between when their sensors detect something and when they respond. It is consistent across all their ships." "What does that mean?" Hyun asked. "It means they are not using AI," Yuna said. "They are using centralized command. Every ship has to check with their command ship before taking action. That is why there is a delay. This was valuable information. If humanity could exploit that delay, they could outmaneuver the alien fleet. Back in space, the Sovereignty fleet was approaching Mars orbit." Leggett Kresh, the military strategist, was growing increasingly frustrated. He had been analyzing human tactics for days, and he could not find any logic to them. "They do not have a strategy," he complained to Fleet Commander Talon Vore. "They just react. Sometimes they attack. Sometimes they retreat. Sometimes they do nothing. There is no pattern. There has to be a pattern, Talonvor insisted. Every species has military doctrine. Every army has structure. Not this one, Kresh said. He displayed combat footage from a recent battle. A human cargo ship had rammed into a sovereignty destroyer at full speed. Both ships were destroyed. Look at this. That cargo ship was carrying medical supplies. It had no weapons. But the captain saw an enemy ship and decided to ram it. Why, what was the strategic purpose? Desperation? Talonvor suggested no, sir. We intercepted their communications. The captain was humming a song while he did it. He thought it was funny. Talonvor felt a chill. This was not normal warfare. This was something else entirely. These humans treated war like a game. They took insane risks because they did not seem to understand how dangerous the situation was. Or maybe they did understand, and they simply did not care. Legate Kresh, I want you to develop new tactical protocols, Talonvor ordered. Assume the enemy has no strategy. Assume every human ship will act independently. Assume they will use any method available, no matter how unconventional. That will make our advance much slower, sir, Kresh warned. I do not care. I would rather be slow than dead. On Earth, President Minji held a press conference. The whole world was watching. People were scared, angry, and confused. They wanted answers. Citizens of Earth and the solar system, Minji began. We face a threat unlike any in human history. An alien empire has invaded our home. They have superior technology and vastly more ships. By all logical analysis, we should lose this war, the crowd murmured nervously. But we will not lose, Minji continued, because we have something they do not understand. We have individual creativity. We have the freedom to make our own decisions. We have the courage to try things that might fail. Every human ship, every station, every person in the solar system is a unique mind with unique ideas. Our enemy cannot predict us because we cannot predict ourselves. She paused, looking directly into the camera. So I'm asking everyone to help. Scientists, engineers, gamers, artists, anyone with ideas. We have created an open platform for tactical suggestions. Submit your ideas. Our AI systems will evaluate them. The best ideas will be implemented immediately. This is not a traditional war. This is collaborative chaos. And we are going to win. Within hours, millions of people had submitted ideas to the platform. Most were useless. Some were brilliant. The AI systems, coordinated by Dr. Yuna's Mira, filtered and organized the suggestions. Commander Sung-ho watched as the tactical database grew. Drone swarm patterns from a teenager in Tokyo. Sensor jamming techniques from a retired engineer in Mumbai. Attack formations from a professional gamer in Sao Paulo. It was beautiful chaos. This is insane, General Bowman muttered, watching over Sung-ho's shoulder. Yes, sir, Sung-ho agreed happily, but it is our insanity, and they have no defense against it. In orbit around Mars, Ensign Hana was now commanding 3 defense platforms instead of 1. She had been promoted twice in 3 days. She still felt like she had no idea what she was doing, but she was learning. And she was not alone. Thousands of young officers like her were improvising, adapting, and surviving. They shared tactics through social media. They learned from each other's mistakes in real time. The Sovereignty Fleet thought they were fighting an army, but they were really fighting millions of independent minds, all working together without anyone telling them what to do. It was humanity's greatest strength, and the aliens still did not understand it. Captain Day was having a bad morning. The coffee maker on his mining vessel was broken again, and the autopilot kept giving error messages. He floated through the cramped corridors of the ship, checking systems and muttering complaints to himself. His crew of 6 people were scattered throughout the asteroid belt, operating smaller mining drones. They were supposed to be collecting platinum-rich asteroids for the Jupiter Development Corporation. It was boring work, but it paid well. The alarm started beeping at exactly 600 hours. Day looked at his scanner display and frowned. 3 unknown ships had just appeared on his radar. They were moving fast and heading straight toward his position. "Hey boss," called Mireille, his second-in-command. "Are you seeing this?" "Yeah, I see it," Day replied. He tried to hail the unknown ships on standard frequencies. No response. He tried emergency channels. Still nothing. The ships came closer. Day got a better look at them through his external cameras. They were sleek and dark, with curved hulls and strange glowing panels. They definitely were not human designs. "Are those the aliens everyone was talking about?" Mirai asked. She floated up next to Day, staring at the screen. I guess so, Day said. The government had made an announcement 2 days ago about possible first contact with an alien species. But the announcement had been vague and confusing. Most people thought it was a joke or a publicity stunt. One of the alien ships fired something at Day's vessel. A beam of blue energy hit his starboard side. Sparks flew from a control panel and the lights flickered. They are shooting at us, Mirai yelled. Day reacted on instinct. His ship was not a warship. It was a mining vessel. But mining vessels had tools. Very powerful tools designed to cut through solid rock and metal. He activated the industrial laser array and targeted the closest alien ship. The laser was meant to slice apart asteroids. It cut through the alien ship's hull like paper. The ship exploded in a bright flash. Did you just kill an alien? Mirai asked in shock. I think so, Day said. He felt strange. He had never killed anything before, not even an animal back on Earth. The other 2 alien ships changed course and started firing more energy beams. Day maneuvered his vessel behind a large asteroid, using it as cover. He activated the mining drones and sent them toward the alien ships. The drones were small and fast. Each one carried a small laser cutter and a magnetic grappling system. Day programmed them to attach to the alien ships and start cutting. It worked better than he expected. The alien ships had powerful weapons and strong shields, but they could not shoot the small drones effectively. Within minutes, both ships were disabled and drifting. Day sat back in his chair, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. Mirai, send a message to Earth Defense. Tell them we just fought some aliens in the asteroid belt. They are going to think we are crazy, Mirai said. But she sent the message anyway. They were not crazy. All across the solar system, similar encounters were happening. The alien fleet, which called itself the Sovereignty Armada, had expected to find organized military resistance. Instead, they found thousands of civilian ships, mining operations, research stations, and tourist facilities scattered throughout the solar system. On Mars, Ensign Hana was eating instant noodles when the alarm went off. She was stationed at Defense Platform 12, a small orbital station above the Martian city of New Sol. The platform was old and understaffed. Most of the crew were young officers fresh out of training. Hana dropped her noodles and rushed to her station. The radar showed dozens of large ships approaching Mars. They were in a tight formation, moving slowly and deliberately. What do we do? Asked Private Yunji, who was even younger than Hana. I do not know, Hana admitted. She had trained for this, but training was different from reality. The manual said to wait for orders from command. But the communication system was flooded with emergency messages. Everyone was talking at once. One of the alien ships fired a warning shot. A beam of energy passed through the space where Defense Platform 9 had been. The platform was simply gone, vaporized instantly. Hana made a decision. She activated the platform's kinetic impactor system. This was a weapon designed for destroying dangerous asteroids. It fired small metal projectiles at extremely high speeds. She aimed at the largest alien ship and fired. The projectile was only the size of a basketball, but it was moving at a significant fraction of light speed. When it hit the alien ship, the result was catastrophic. The alien ship exploded. But it did not just explode alone. It was too close to the other ships in its formation. The explosion triggered a chain reaction. Within seconds, an entire battle group of alien vessels was destroyed. Hana stared at her screen in disbelief. She had just destroyed maybe 50 or 60 ships with one shot. Oh no, she whispered. I am in so much trouble, but she was not in trouble. She was a hero. Within hours, her name was trending on every social media platform in the solar system. Someone had recorded the explosion and posted it online. The video had 1 billion views before the day was over. The Sovereignty Fleet Commander, Talon Vor, watched the battle reports with growing confusion. He had commanded fleets for 20 years. He had conquered 7 different species. He thought he understood how warfare worked, but this was chaos. The humans had no organized defense. They had no central command structure that he could identify. Instead, every ship and station seemed to act independently. They used mining equipment, construction tools, and improvised weapons. They did not follow any military doctrine he recognized, and somehow it was working. His fleet had lost over 300 ships in the first 6 hours. 300 ships destroyed by miners, tourists, and half-trained soldiers eating noodles. Talon Vor called a meeting with his senior officers. They gathered in his command center, a massive room filled with holographic displays and tactical readouts. What is happening? He demanded. How are we losing to these primitives? Sir, they are not fighting like any species we have encountered before, said his tactical officer. They do not retreat when attacked. They do not try to protect their civilians. Instead, their civilians attack us. Every ship we encounter, civilian or military, fights back. And their weapons? Talon Vor asked. Improvised, sir. They are using industrial equipment modified for combat. We have been hit by mining lasers, construction drones, cargo containers filled with explosives, and what appears to be a modified garbage disposal system that fired debris at high velocity. Talon Vor felt a headache forming. What about their military forces? We have barely encountered them, sir. Most of our casualties have come from civilian encounters. This was impossible. The sovereignty had rules for war. There were military targets and civilian targets. There were proper tactics and strategies. But the humans did not follow any rules. They just fought with whatever they had available. Advance to Mars, Talon Vor ordered, but spread the fleet out. No tight formations, and send scouts ahead to identify actual military installations. The sovereignty fleet regrouped and continued toward Mars. They were more cautious now, but they were still confident. They had 5,000 ships. The humans had maybe a few hundred military vessels at most. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the battle reports with mixed feelings. On one hand, humanity was doing better than expected. On the other hand, this was still a disaster. Thousands of civilians were in danger, and the real battle had not even started yet. Get me a count of all available military assets, he ordered his staff. And someone find out how a mining captain in the asteroid belt managed to destroy 3 enemy ships with a laser cutter. I want that captain on my advisory team. President Minji appeared on his communication screen. Admiral, the public is starting to panic. We have protests in major cities. People want to know why we were not prepared. Because we did not think it was real, Madam President, Hyunwoo said honestly. Nobody did. Well, it is real now, Minji replied. So what do we do? Hyunwoo looked at the tactical display. The alien fleet was heading for Mars. After Mars, they would come to Earth. He had maybe a week to prepare. We fight, he said simply, and we hope that our chaos is more effective than their order. The tribunal chamber was built for moments like this. 3 levels of seating surrounded a central floor where witnesses would stand. The architecture was designed to be neutral, comfortable for most species, threatening to none. But today it felt like an arena. Taemin sat in the human section, surrounded by supporters. Jiwoo on his left, Ha-jun on his right. Behind them, other humans from the station. They had all taken time off work to be here, to show solidarity. Some of them Taemin knew. Others were strangers who just wanted to support one of their own. The Vraxian section was larger. Military officers in their dark uniforms, diplomats in formal robes, all of them watching Taemin with expressions that ranged from anger to curiosity. He was the human who had killed their commander. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted to understand how Ambassador Kale entered and took his position as mediator. His voice carried through the chamber, translated instantly into dozens of languages. This tribunal will determine the truth of what happened on Helios 7. We will hear from experts. We will examine evidence. We will make a fair judgment. The first witness was Jae-hee, a human military instructor who had trained Earth's first space forces. She walked to the center of the floor with the confidence of someone who had faced down dangers most species couldn't imagine. Her uniform bore marks of service, small symbols that told stories of battles and victories. Tell us about human combat training, Kale said. Jae-hee nodded. Humans train from childhood. Not formal military training, but survival training. We play games that teach us to fight. We practice sports that involve physical contact. By the time a human reaches adulthood, they've spent years learning to control their body in dangerous situations. And Taemin? What training would he have? Taemin is a civilian, an engineer. But like all humans, he grew up on Earth. He would have played contact sports, maybe soccer, maybe wrestling. He would have learned to fall without injury, to take hits and keep moving, to defend himself if necessary. It's not special training. It's just growing up human. A Vraxian diplomat stood. You're saying all humans are trained killers? No, I'm saying all humans are survivors. There's a difference. We don't train to kill. We train to live. But when something tries to kill us, our body knows what to do. Young Min, a xenoanthropologist, was called next. He specialized in studying how different species evolved and what those evolutionary paths meant for behavior. He pulled up holographic displays showing human evolution. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, he explained. We're not the fastest species, not the strongest, but we can keep going. We can chase prey for hours, days even, until the prey collapses from exhaustion. Our bodies are designed for endurance. The display showed a human running, muscle groups highlighted in different colors, the cardiovascular system pumping efficiently, sweat cooling the body, a design refined over millions of years. But we were also prey, young men continued. Large predators hunted early humans. Big cats, pack hunters. We survived by being smart, by working together, and by having reflexes fast enough to escape. When a predator attacks, humans don't freeze. We react. He pulled up another display. This one showed a human brain, with different regions highlighted. The amygdala, the brainstem. These ancient parts of our brain control survival responses. When a human perceives a lethal threat to the head, to the control center, these systems activate faster than conscious thought. The body acts before the mind can process what's happening. Show us, someone called from the Vraxian section. Jae-hee smiled. I can demonstrate. She called forward another human, a young soldier named Bin who served on Soul's Pride. He stood relaxed, waiting. Jae-hee explained what would happen. I'm going to throw a ball at Bin's head. Watch his reaction time, she threw. The ball flew fast, faster than most species could track. But Bin's hand snapped up, catching it before it reached his face. The movement was smooth, automatic. He caught the ball without thinking about it. That's a trained response, a Vraxian observer said. Fine, let's try untrained. Jae-hee called forward a human teenager who was visiting the station with her parents. Daejung was 15 years old, nervous to be in front of so many aliens. He had never trained for combat, never served in the military. Just a regular kid, same test, Jae-hee said. Ready? She threw the ball at Daejung's head. The teenager's hand came up, not quite fast enough to catch it, but fast enough to deflect it. The ball bounced away. Daejung blinked, surprised. I didn't mean to do that, he said. Exactly, Jae-hee replied. You didn't mean to. Your body did it automatically. That's what happened with Taemin. Commander Velthar struck his head. Taemin's body defended itself. No thought. No decision. Pure reflex. The tribunal was silent, processing this information. Ambassador Kale asked Daejung to stay. Tell us about growing up on Earth. What was your childhood like? Daejung shrugged. Normal, I guess. I played with friends. Climbed trees. Went swimming in the ocean sometimes. How high were the trees? I don't know. 20 meters? 30? My mom always told me not to climb too high, but you know how kids are. Gasps from the non-human observers. Climbing 30 meters as a child? That would be suicide for most species. And swimming in the ocean? Yeah, it's fun. You have to watch for riptides, though. And jellyfish. And sharks sometimes, but they usually don't bother you if you leave them alone. More gasps. Swimming in water with predators? Did you ever get hurt? Kale asked. Sure. Broke my arm once falling off my bike. Broke my leg playing soccer. Got a concussion when I hit my head during a game. Normal stuff? Normal, Kale repeated. The word hung in the air. Broken bones, concussions, normal. Young Min spoke again. This is what we're trying to explain. Humans have a different baseline for danger. Activities that would be considered extremely risky for most species are just childhood games for humans. We evolve on a world that's constantly trying to kill us. Our bodies adapt. Our pain tolerance increases. Our reflexes sharpen. Our ability to recover from injury improves. This isn't special. This is just being human. He pulled up a new display. Earth's animal life. Lions, bears, sharks, crocodiles. Creatures that could kill a human easily. Every one of these creatures is dangerous. Each one has killed humans. But humans are still the dominant species on Earth. We didn't get there by being weak. We got there by being adaptable, intelligent, and very, very hard to kill. A video played. Human children playing a game called tag. Chasing each other, laughing. It looked innocent until young men explained the mechanics. They're practicing pursuit. Learning to track movement. Developing spatial awareness. It's training disguised as fun. Another video. Humans playing soccer. Bodies colliding as they fought for the ball. Contact sports. Learning to take hits. To give hits. To stay balanced when someone tries to knock you down. Another video. A human climbing a rock face, fingers gripping tiny holds, body pressed against stone. Risk assessment. Physical conditioning, learning to control fear. This is normal? A Vraxian diplomat asked, sounding shocked. For humans, yes, young Min said. We don't think of it as dangerous. It's just life, Jahe added context. The Vraxian Empire has been in space for thousands of years. Your species hasn't seen real war in generations. You practice combat, but it's ceremonial, controlled. Humans? We've been at war with each other for our entire history. We only stopped fighting each other when we reached space and realized we weren't alone. You're saying humans are naturally violent? Krath demanded. No, I'm saying we're naturally competitive. We push ourselves. We test limits. When Commander Velthar struck Taemin, he didn't just hit a random creature. He hit the product of millions of years of evolution on a death world. He hit someone whose ancestors survived by being faster, stronger, and more determined than everything trying to kill them. Ambassador Kale studied the data, his multiple eyes processing information faster than a human could. The evidence suggests that humans possess defensive capabilities far beyond what the Vraxian Empire anticipated. Commander Velthar's action, which might have been considered disciplinary in Vraxian culture, triggered a survival response that led to his death. It was still murder, Krath insisted. Was it? Young Min asked. If I program a machine to defend itself when attacked and someone attacks it and the machine kills them, is that murder? Or is that cause and effect? Humans aren't machines. No, we're more complex. Our programming comes from evolution, not engineers. But the principle is the same. Commander Velthar initiated lethal force. Taemin's body responded with lethal force, action and reaction. Daejung spoke up, his young voice carrying through the chamber. I don't understand why this is so complicated. Someone hit Taemin hard enough to crack his skull. Of course he defended himself. What else would he do? Just die? The simple question from a child silenced the room. What else would he do? Just die? No species would choose to die. Every species had survival instincts. The difference was that human survival instincts were faster, stronger, more effective than most others. Earth had made them that way. The Death World had forged its children in fire and blood and endless danger, and now the galaxy was learning what that meant.